we originally spent about 10 to 20% of the original 200 grand that we had renting the Apollo 13 spaceship for the set. And we didn't have what we needed. We couldn't afford it anymore. And I was like, I could do a better version. We gave him 60 grand, and he went to Home Depot for 6 months with his brother and one other friend. And over a 6-month period of time, he built that. Like literally out of pizza boxes, moving blankets. The window was from a laundry machine. Like crazy. You guys have no idea. The Civil War sequence that you saw in the beginning with all the soldiers and all the soldiers are in the mine. And they're pushing that big door and the explosions. He built that whole mine. He dug that with a tractor and with a shovel. He built all the wood, the wheels, everything. I mean, the mortars, all the mortars and cannons was him and his mom. Like,
it really made your mom work on that too?
No, actually, when the DVD finally comes out, it's going to be the funniest thing ever. Funny footage. Those are planters, actually, with just Bondo and newspaper on the sides. Wow.
But this is what's so cool about this, and I can't take credit for that stuff. I mean, from a macro level, we wanted to make sure that the film spoke to the ethos of what Angels and Airwaves is, and it's about communicating large human themes across different mediums to build a better world. But for him to go out and do what he did was it's unheard of, and it's 100% independent. No one is involved with the band or with the movie on a corporate level, other than the band's tiny little corporate stamp where we have to pay taxes. You know, we're a small organization, so that's what it takes to be really ambitious. It takes years, and I just think this guy needs. You guys all need to kiss him on the neck as he walks out of the place. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, he deserves something. So.
We have watched it. Well, I know there was one question over here. Go for it.
First of all, you're awesome.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Second of all, can you tell us anything about Love Park?
Yeah, so the first half of the album came out a little over a year ago. We did a free record. The second half is coming out with the movie. So on 11/11/11, November 11th, the movie and the double album are launching. There's 10 brand new songs, another 30 minutes of score from the film. A huge, huge release for us. We're really excited about that.
Great. Other questions? Odd audience. Go ahead.
I just had a statement. I'm sure there's a lot of us here that have been following the band, the music, and the progression of the film for the past 4 years. And on behalf of all those fans, I just want to say it was a great show. I'm glad that you guys decided to keep putting more and more into this along the way. So I just want to say thank you. It was amazing. And for all over 4 years.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
All the questions I saw. Go ahead.
You had an internal rationalization for the use of gravity on the station.
So years ago when we were at Will's parents' house, we were in the driveway. We didn't even know exactly what we were going to build, like who has schematics for building a space station. I kind of looked at him and I was like, you know what, how are we going to do the whole gravity thing? And it quickly dawned upon us that as far as science fiction films go, there's none of them that have ever done that. The only movie that has it is Apollo 13, and it's not fiction. So if you think about Star Wars, Star Trek, Alien, the best science fiction films of all time, you know, inside their stations there's gravity. So, you know, ultimately we ended up looking at each other and like, you know, and it wasn't actually 60 grand that we had to build a space station with. Like, it was probably like 15,000 tops, and it was just Will going back and forth to Home Depot and getting the stuff. But, you know, we looked at each other and we're like, obviously we can't afford to do any kind of wire.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
It looks like 60 grand. I'm just saying.
no, I mean, I knew there was no way. I mean, obviously in a realistic world, it would have been awesome to figure out a way to somehow do anti-gravity, but I knew that machine from Acme wasn't going to be able to fit up my driveway. So you know, I just tried to build a space station in a circular fashion and ways to, you know, switch things and roll the camera over to at least just put you sort of in a space. But yeah, no anti-gravity.
Yeah. Question right there.
Yeah, do you start with like a master plan for the station, or is it just kind of
Mark would come up to the house, and I honestly, when I just knew, because we had rented this thing, and it was 50 grand for 5 days, and we put it on a stage in Burbank, and I knew that there was no way to make a movie out of that. The footage never even made it into the movie. It was so wank. But anyways, no, so really, honestly, this is not a joke. So Mark comes up, and I'm like, yeah, man, so we got to build some, like, some different sets, and I bought like a big book on the space station with just pictures in it. And we literally went to Home Depot and we're like looking at prices of things, and we bought the cheapest piece of MDF we could find. It was like $8. And then we bought another one. And then we went home and we cut it into squares, and we built like a single 4x8 wall. And we like stood back and we painted it, and we looked at it and we were like, we should build more. You know, it was like, we had really no plan at the time. But as I started to build like the actual tunnel pieces, we started thinking of like ways that we could make it bigger and put wheels on the bottom of it and maneuver them in different directions. And it just, and then actually, we were building for almost a year straight. I know the Dodgers were in the postseason, and when we finished, the Dodgers were in their next postseason. So it was like a really, really long time.
Another question right up there.
Whenever I see a really great movie with an ambiguous ending, I want to ask the guy, does it mean anything specific to you, how it ended?
It definitely means stuff specifically to me. I had a lot of time to think about it. But you know, when you're dealing with sort of chewy topics that some people could say are pretentious, some people could say are you know, just a bunch of bullshit. You know, I feel like when I watch a movie that sort of deals with big pieces like that, I want it to be you know, a bit of a choose your own adventure for the way that you see exactly what happens. So if you find me afterwards and you want to know exactly what you think, what my opinion is of what happened, then you can find me and I'll tell you.
But if I get in an argument with somebody else here, there's no answer.
I think that's the coolest part about art. I said this last night, and maybe there's some people that were there last night. You know, I always heard this thing about Bob Dylan not telling people what his lyrics were about, because I think half the equation of any type of art is you have to take that and apply it to yourself. If you know, if you heard a great song and you go, oh my God, that song really made me think about going into the clouds in heaven. He's like, oh no, I wrote that about my neighbor. I found that. You're like, that kind of ruins it for you. I totally agree with you. It is ambiguous, and I think purposefully there's many times where we talked throughout the making, especially these guys, you know, that there were going to be specific holes there. And I think the vote always came out that those holes weren't totally necessary because it let people have that debate as they left the theater. And I know that this is one of those films that, you know, it's meant to be totally out of the box, and it's meant to be ambiguous, and it's meant to make you think, and it's you know, which is what's so cool on this level, because we could do it, and it's really cool for a band to do because there's no rules. Like, we could do whatever we want. And I used to try and get these guys, can't we just like turn off the screen and have sounds spinning around for like 10 minutes, you know? And so, well, maybe like 10 seconds, but...
And honestly, on that note, there was times when Gunner, who, God bless this guy, did the whole movie by himself. It's like... There were times when Gunner and I would be debating about exactly what's going on at the ending. And then even with, you know, I spent 5 months with Brian Verdan in an editing room, and, you know, I'm sure we kind of have very different opinion about exactly what happened at the end. But,
everyone should say hi to Brian back there. I haven't actually even met him yet.
The astronaut character changed a lot, you know, emotionally, mentally, I'm sure, but also physically. You know, he started out really fit, and then he sort of let himself go. What order did you guys film that? Did you just like chill out for a couple of months, later age stuff, and then get fit as you go, or was it the other way around?
See, I did a lot of shitty acting work to like pay to be able to like go and live on his parents' ranch for like 3 or 4 weeks at a time. I would, you know, during that 4-year stint, if you were up at 2 in the morning, you'd see that cheesy infomercial, and that would pay for like 2 months of production on Love for me. So, I mean, no, it was, we started shooting in September of '07, and I think we wrapped, just about 1.5 years ago. I mean, really, Will was my co-star. It was so funny. This is I think the 5th time I've watched it, but it's always been with an audience, which is kind of cool for me. And I watch the movie, and I see so many things that, you know, bring back memories. And like, you know, those girls were a visual element, but like a lot of that, well, I think all of that audio and dialogue is post. So Will was the girl, and it was so funny is he's getting into it. There's that one thing where she's like, he's reading me the dialogue, so it's like. It's just really intimate, it's quiet, and it's like fucking 4 in the morning, it's just like, camera's on, and Will's like, almost like, are you real? And I'm like, and so we're having the scene back and forth, and I think it's like second or third take, and there's like on his ranch there's like some frogs or some crickets or something. So he starts getting pissed. He's like, "What are you thinking about? Can someone turn those fucking crickets off? Lamar!" So all these guys are starting to like calm the cattle and the horses, and I just remember like those weren't girls. That was Will. Like feeding me the dialogue.
It was messy. But no, to answer your question, we started with him with the beard just because, actually we started with the scruff, and then we went to the beard, and then we went to clean in the end because there was a lot to like figure out with rearranging that space station from being messy to clean. And so there's sort of all these variables that we had to go down this checkmark list of like, okay, at this point it's got to be, you know, at this level. And then we would think about like, what's the hardest variable? Okay, rearranging the space station is the hardest variable. And then his beard is a variable, you know, so.
What he's saying about rearranging the space station is that, you know, it looks like every time you look down a different angle in the film that there's something down there, but in reality there's not. We built 3 tunnels that are on caster wheels, and so a testament to these guys as a filmmaker and an actor is that, you know, one day or a couple nights or something, we're shooting a lot of different scenes that are kind of looking down this long tunnel, and then the couple of guys that are there like take that apart, move it all to the other side, change some of the stuff, you know, like make it look like it's something totally different, and the next day or sometimes weeks or even, I mean, there's stuff that Gunner shot where he was doing one part of a line a year later than the next part when it was cutting to the reverse angle. And to be able to get all that stuff to match tonally and visually is a testament. That sounds like I'm kissing their ass, but that's not easy when you don't have anybody but a couple people there. And so it's a testament to these guys as filmmakers. It's pretty incredible.